Okay, welcome to another installment of Civil Disagreement. My name's Kevin Beers and my co-host Michael Green sitting over there. Today, actually, because we're doing this show during the coronavirus outbreak, Mike and I decided it might be best if we did not get together because honestly, we don't know where Mike's been. Uh, so, so we decided to do this from our own homes. My studio is in my home, so we're doing it here. He's got his own setup at home at his house. The other day, we actually had a conversation about the coronavirus, and my daughter was at our house at the time, and I had Mike on the speaker, and she started interjecting her own thoughts. Her name is Sarah, so we decided we were going to invite her to come in and give her thoughts on that also. So actually, I think at this point, Mike, I'll just let you lead off with what do you think is going on in the world right now?
Oh, well, first of all, welcome, Sarah.
Hello, thank you.
Okay, to Civil Disagreement. Glad you are here. We definitely want to entertain somebody else's train of thought other than me and Kevin.
Oh,
So,
with a title with disagreement in it, I'm ready.
outstanding. I guess to answer your question or to your point, Kevin, we're just riding the wave out, man. To tell you the truth, when we first heard the news of COVID-19 and we were looking at everything that was coming across the news media and everything, uh, the first thing I went back to was the episode we did about mainstream media. And the first thing I said, it was like, man, they are hyping this up way too much. Uh, I still think they're hyping it up way too much, but it is what it is. I mean, what did you think, Sarah?
Um, I think that the hype is definitely overplayed, but I think that the threat of how we want to not spread it is very real.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, what I was struggling with was I believe the media is hyping it up too much, and I don't believe most of what they ever say. But at the same time, because of my age, I'm actually in the high risk or a higher risk group, and I do have bouts with pneumonia occasionally. And of course, this is a lung disease, and
Yeah.
I don't want to take any chances. So even though I think they're overblowing it, I'm still taking all the precautions I got to take. For instance, you not being here.
Yeah.
Um,
Although, let your school teacher daughter, toddler come on in. No big deal.
well, there is that. There is that. But I love my granddaughter. Um, I
She's
love
pretty
Sarah.
cool.
I love Sarah too.
Eh.
But really, my granddaughter. Uh, but the thing was, there's so much about this disease that's going on that I don't know what to believe anymore. I want to believe the scientists and the doctors. And for instance, on our church board, we have two doctors and a nurse, or actually two nurses. And they're all giving us the warning, hey, we got to keep our eye on this. And because the church population is mostly older people at our church, we got to really reduce our risks, things like that. So I'm trying to navigate this whole thing with, keep my exposure down, but at the same time, I got life too,
Yeah.
so how do you balance all that?
The first thing I thought when I started hearing all the information about the virus, I was like, do they really know where this came from? it
Well, I
was,
gotta be honest, like I didn't hear about it until maybe a week once schools let out.
yeah. I mean, I think as soon as the whole China thing happened, that's when the media really started going overboard with it. Like I think they really started going overboard with it way before it even we had the first case in the U.S. For the simple
I
fact, yeah.
I do my best. I try to live under a rock for the most part, but I do hear some of it.
Yeah, it got really ridiculous, and then all the conspiracies started coming out, and then it was the whole, right when it started having some cases in the U.S. So the very few cases that started, then it was the whole, oh well, China is trying to say that the U.S. spread the virus and tried to blame it on China, and it was ridiculous. Some of the conspiracy theories that were coming over the air, I was like, come on, man, like y'all don't have nothing else to report on, like really?
While I don't believe the conspiracy theories, I think that there are some definite things to think about. Some of them make you think.
Yeah, I mean, because this virus has been along. If you looked at your Facebook feed, everybody kept talking about how it was listed on the side of the Lysol can for like ever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Well,
so how long has the virus been around?
but the thing is, it is listed there, but it's the listing itself says human coronavirus, where
Yes.
this apparently is some kind
zoonotic.
of it jumps species, so it's not actually a human version of it.
Oh, okay.
So it started in, I think, in bats.
Yeah, what I think I heard is that it started in bats who were paired with swine, pigs, and
Yes.
then all the bat crap just infected the pork, and then
Yes.
they ate the pork.
Oh,
And
I
that's
thought they were making soup with the bats.
yeah, that's what they were trying. That was a conspiracy theory that kept showing all
Okay.
these Asians eating bat soup. Talking about where the
Yeah,
virus come from again, and I'm like, are y'all serious?
so I wasn't sure what to believe about it, and then see, and the other thing that's bothering me here is the fact that there are so few cases. There really, if you look at the statistics, there's very few cases, but apparently it spreads. It spreads a little bit differently than most diseases, where you can have it that last this is the way I understand it. You can have it up to like 7 to 12 days after exposure before you show any symptoms. So you can be spreading it around for a week before you even know that you have it.
Have it. Yeah.
Or
Most
even know that you came in contact with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Most viruses, 2 or 3 days at the most, and you
Yeah.
have a bunch of symptoms, and you already know you can't be around. Like the common cold, that's like a 2-day incubation period or something like that. But apparently, this one has a much longer extension
Yeah.
before the actual symptoms show up. So you can. It would be really hard to contain that. Like, for instance, if I came in contact with it a week ago, no one knows I have it. I still have no symptoms at all. And so I could be spreading around. Now I work from home most of the time, so I really don't see people for the most part. Right? I see my family, but
I don't bring down the weirdness level at all. But I've heard that, and I don't know if it's true or not, but while the incubation period is a long time, when it finds a host, when COVID-19 does not find a host, it's only like 3 or 4 hours in the air, maybe a little bit longer from copper surfaces. But after that, then the virus dies.
I was seeing that on certain surfaces up to 4 or 5 days. Like clothing was 4 or 5 days. Metal surfaces was, I think, in the hours.
Yeah.
It really depended on what it was on at the time.
So,
Now,
yeah.
I also read that the virus is extremely fragile, so it's easy to kill it.
Yes.
But like for instance, we have a friend who is a nurse, and she works in a what do you call it? I want to say an old folks home, but that's not the right term. A nursing home. Nursing home.
That's where we're going. Yes.
Independent living.
So basically, as soon as she walks in the door, she strips down, throws everything in the washer, heads straight to the shower. So she's completely, cleaned off. And she's a nurse. She knows what precautions to take, things like that. There's been no outbreak at the nursing home, and I guess visitors are not allowed currently to go in and out. So she's doing all the right things. Other doctors and nurses that we know who actually deal with patients who may have it, following all the proper protocols, things like that. And most of them that I've talked to, they're not concerned about catching it themselves because most of them are not in risk groups anyway. But their concern is spreading it to other people because they see patients of all ages or whatever the case might be. But the most recent report was the spring break.
Oh yeah,
the college
kids are still trying to do their spring break thing in California and Florida. I don't know why that is, but yeah,
Florida, especially like Miami, that's the home base for all the old folks.
Yeah,
and also spring break. So the beaches were crowded, and they hold live concerts, and the place is just packed.
Well, the funny thing is that I don't think nobody's playing music down there except for indie bands, because nobody of note is doing concerts. Like every concert in the Hampton Roads area in Virginia got canceled. The biggest one, I mean, when you're talking about a concert that kind of rivals the iHeart Music Festival, is Something in the Water. And they canceled that down here. And you want to talk about people that were pissed. Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, the Virginia called for what do you call it, with a state emergency or
we're in a state of emergency.
A state of emergency at this point. I don't know that Florida has declared a state of emergency yet. They may have, but last I heard, I mean, all these college students were out there doing their spring break thing.
Yeah.
And then last I heard, they did close the beaches down, and now everybody's ticked off. Some of the they were just having comments from the college kids, and they're like, well, if I get it, I get it. It's not going to stop me from partying, one guy said.
Yeah, you say that until you get it.
There were a couple, but the thing is, most people in that age group they're not high risk anyway. I mean, they may get it, but they're, odds are they're all recovering.
Yeah.
It's so irresponsible to spread it, though.
Yeah, exactly. And one of them, they said, well, they're saying that you're the future of our country. And then the response was, well, then let us do what we want the way we want to do it.
And no one will be left.
Yeah.
You got to love it, man. You got to love it.
You know what? There might be done with climate change at that point if no one is left. The world might go back to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw my post on Facebook.
Yeah, I saw that.
Since I mentioned it, I might as well say what it was. I basically said that they've said that the virus is very fragile and that higher than normal temperatures can kill it. So does that mean that climate change is now a good thing?
Watch out, I cough. You don't know where I've been. Just kidding. I've been at home in bed.
Yeah. So let's see what else is going on. Oh, well, let's go back to the news media. Major hype there. I think they're just trying to scare everybody at this point. I mean,
it's pretty effective in the schools. The kids were very scared. I mean, essentially, just, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid everyone's going to give me coronavirus. And then the ones that aren't scared are just being jerks and I got the coronavirus on you.
Yeah. I saw some of that.
She does teach middle school.
Oh, middle school.
It's middle school. So
if you think I'm weird, that's why.
No, I saw a lot of that at the supermarket. The little kids just walking around like not knowing why people got masks on and gloves on. Like, I mean, it was funny because I called Kevin. I said, why are people walking around with gloves? And he was like, yeah, to protect themselves. And I was like, when do you take them off? And you take them off with what? You take them off after you contaminate your car, after you contaminate your doorknob, your house.
Once you wipe your eyes and,
Like, either way, you're going to get, like, contamination on you. Like, gloves is not helping anything. Like, pure and simple. Just like you said, that nurse understands that if she's got something on her, she got something on her. The best thing to do is just go into the house and strip down and just put your clothes in the washing machine right then and there.
Right.
You know?
I don't think gloves don't do anything though, because after I went to the grocery store last week, I nearly had a panic attack on the way home. I was like, I touched so many things, and as soon as I walked into Kroger, my face itched. And I don't know what to do because now they're out of the wipes that go on the cart. And
but that was my question is how do you wear the gloves but yet not contaminate your stuff?
I think you need to travel with like 2 sets of gloves or something like that, because once you get into the store and touch all your things and everything like that, before you open your door or put your groceries in, take the gloves off. If you're still worried about it, put a new set on, put your groceries in, good to go.
Yeah,
but if you're not that worried about it, or you only have 1 set of gloves.
But your groceries were touched by other people.
Yeah, but everyone in the cashier lane is also wearing gloves. Although I will say the person at the deli, I made them change their gloves because they touched the whole top of the counter first and then tried to go cut my cheese. Cut the cheese.
Well, they were wrong. They were wrong in the first place because they and again, this is from when I was working in supermarkets back in the day, but they tell you before you wait on every single customer, change your gloves.
They don't.
Ew, that's nasty.
Mm.
Because you have some people that are kosher, and guess what? they don't want you touching their turkey with gloves that just touch ham.
Okay.
Right.
And I was at a sub shop and I got a sub with meat, and she had cut things with it with the knife they had there. She wiped it off, but then the guy who was with me, he wanted a vegan type
Yes.
sandwich, and she immediately says, "Do you want me to wash the knife off first?" Like she was trying to make actually gloves, and the gloves
Wow.
she was wearing.
Yeah.
Do you want me to change my gloves before I make your sandwich? Because she had touched the meat.
I think that's really awesome. When I was vegan, that rarely ever happened. And that's where I kind of learned to stand up for myself and be like, hey guys, can you change your gloves? Can you do something for me? I don't want to.
Yeah. So there's that. So what about the government response to all this stuff?
Oh, that blew up on Facebook big. Yeah. I don't know what your guys' timeline look like, but yeah, mine looks pretty, in a word, I would like to say very diverse. Somewhat ignorant, but very diverse. I have everything from people blaming the right to people blaming the left, Republican Democrat stuff. He's not my president. Why you guys want checks?
But well, let's put all that into context.
Yes.
Basically, what I've been seeing is, you said he's not your president, so don't take his check.
Yes.
And then on the other side,
Right.
it's like, you don't believe in handouts, so don't take his check.
Yes.
So it goes on the left and it goes on the right.
And I guess just to clear up, because so many people are out of work, some of us are not getting paid, some of us are.
Yes.
And those are the checks that we're talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
And I don't see anything wrong with the whole economic bailout as far as when it comes to the Americans being out of work and people having to pay their mortgage and stuff like that. A lot of the conglomerates got together and said that nothing's going to be turned off. Most of the ISP providers, the internet service providers, put out that they're not going to turn cable internet off, even if you are behind on the bill. The top 3 cell phone companies said they're not turning off cell service, even if you owe a bill. I mean, I'm watching a lot of stuff happen, even though it's not government mandated. But what I think is funny is that I haven't heard anything from landlords. Like, there's nothing on Facebook about landlords and rent.
There's a couple of bills in play right now where they're saying, hey, we're going to mandate that it's okay to fall behind on rent. And I'm thinking, how can you tell the landlord to put on the table based on the fact that they receive rent?
Yeah, it's one thing for Wells Fargo to come out and say, hey, we're gonna make provision for you to stay in your home with your mortgage. That's a difference between that and just like when Walmart said they're gonna pay their employees this extra money at the end of the month because they understand they're working in like kind of like hazardous condition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But for the government to come out and tell a privately owned company that or privately owned entity, small business or whatever it is, landlords count, that they, I don't know where that is.
Well, I think it's Pennsylvania has mandated that restaurants close down essentially.
Oh, okay.
Now, most mom and pop restaurants, they operate on such a thin profit margin.
Yeah.
A lot of those restaurants are never coming back. They got to pay their rent. And if they're not serving any food, they're not making any money. They're not paying rent.
Why did he make it mandatory they had to shut down? You don't have to make it mandatory for the restaurants to shut down. You can just make it mandatory that they don't serve in a dining area, but they can still cook and have it delivered or picked up.
Well, that's what we're doing here in Virginia. However, my understanding is that Pennsylvania actually shut it down completely. Now, I could be wrong about that, and if I am, sorry about that, but isn't California, didn't they mandate it?
I've heard something about California and kind of like a mandated quarantine. Most of what I've been seeing on Facebook are people freaking out about potential martial law and being afraid that the government is saying that we won't be able to leave our houses at all.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm not actually against that. Now, I don't believe, well, you know how much I dislike the government and things they do, but in a case like this where it's actual public safety, martial law to keep everybody away from everybody else for like a 2 week period or whatever it takes. Now, if it continues beyond that, okay, now we got a problem. But for that small period of time, now on at the same time, if the government is mandating you can't go to work, you can't make money, the whole bit, they're also responsible for supplying for you. And that is not socialism. That is a
Oh, they're going to disagree with you there, Kevin.
oh, I know they're going to disagree with me because I'm such a big capitalist. I don't believe in socialism, but on the matter of public safety, there are times where something has to happen to make it work. Because first of all, if I'm living paycheck to paycheck and you tell me I cannot go to work for the next month or whatever it might be, I have no money coming in. I can't buy food for my family. What are my choices at this point? So if you're going to mandate it from on high, or if you're going to encourage me not to go to work, you're going to have to do something for me.
Yeah,
that's the only way that's going to work. And now, like I said, if it's just a temporary stopgap kind of measure, and then as soon as it's over, we go right back to the way things were, I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is when government grabs power, a lot of times they don't give it back.
That's what actually freaks me out about all of this.
Yeah.
Is that they won't give it back?
While I'm not a conspiracy theorist, what an excellent opportunity when everyone in the world is scared to just swoop in and do all of the things that are no good.
well, they've gone.
It's funny that you guys would say that, but yeah.
Am I allowed to talk about Hitler? This is the part that freaks me out.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's certain states where they're saying, oh, you know what? If you steal something out of somebody's house, because we don't want to overcrowd the prisons and the jails and whatnot, we're going to actually let it go. Honestly, they're letting it go. It's not even like arrest you, slap, you like in 2 months, you got to come back for a court date kind of thing. It's like, we're not even going to arrest you.
So now our
and then then there's some other states that are saying during this period of time, you can't buy any guns.
Yeah.
They're actually grabbing the power to do that.
Uh-huh. And that's my better half, Javon, that just walked in the back of the screen.
Yes, and
you guys can ignore that.
She's definitely the better half. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, I will say the discipline system for laws now is kind of like the school system in the way we discipline our kids there. Barely even a slap on the wrist. That's all good.
Is that how that's working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of used to fighting, I guess, the whole city police relationship with where I come from. So we're kind of used to, I'm not going to say we're used to martial law. I'm just going to say we're used to having that kind of relationship where a lot of times the police come through the community and you watch them do stuff and you just feel like you just don't have any real rights because you're watching the police, just like the stop and frisk. So because I grew up and was a recipient of some of that stuff sometimes, like I was handcuffed and put on a curb just because they felt like stopping us and searching our car just because they could. No probable cause, no warrants, no nothing. There's no bulletins. There was no, hey, excuse me, sir, we're just stopping you because we have a report in the area, blah, 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 blah. And so we're kind of used to that kind of harassment from the police. So it's for me, I don't think, I can't say that I know what martial law is like. I was never in a camp or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're kind of used to like real restrictive policing anyway growing up. So that doesn't really scare me, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I don't. I'm really torn because, like, the Constitution guarantees me some freedom. Freedom to move around, freedom to associate when I want to associate, things like that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, and the guarantee is that the government can't take it away. But martial law has been used in the past, in certain cases
Yeah.
during wartime, typically.
Yeah.
But we've never had a situation where, and and again, because I think the media is blowing this too far out of proportion. I'm not saying don't take precautions. I'm not saying, all those kinds of things, but the scaremongering,
Yeah.
it seems to me that's a lot of what they're doing. I mean, there was a report the other day. It came out of some university and it was done by some medical team, and I get all that, where they're predicting 20 million Americans are going to die from this virus.
What?
Yeah, but anyway, but looking at the numbers and statistics are my thing. I don't see how that can be projected based on um based on anything really. There aren't even 20. There's only 250,000 cases reported so far, or something like that.
Well, it's
But
right now it's at 334 plus thousand.
Okay, so
Yeah,
300.
but spring break's not over yet. So.
But that's the world over, isn't it?
Yes, that's the worldwide.
That's the entire world.
Yes.
And we're talking about 20 million Americans dying. Now, the way I see this playing out is, if everybody does stay home like they should, or even if just some, if a good majority stay home, and this thing gets cut off very quickly, they're going to say, "Oh, see that by mandating all these different things to happen, we prevented this from getting out of hand."
Wow.
Now, the thing is,
hold on, I just refreshed the screen. It now says 335 plus thousand.
Okay.
It just jumped up almost another 1,000. That's crazy.
Okay.
But
there was
yes,
one day where like 300 or 500 people in Italy died in one day.
Yes. Now, there's some caveats that go along with Italy. Italy has the oldest population in all of Europe.
Yes.
The average age is like in the 60s.
Yeah. So like Italy in general is in the high risk group. So yeah, you're going to expect far more people to die because they're in that high risk group.
Yes.
Then you get into the other countries where the average age is much lower. They don't have the same set of standards that they're living by.
Well, on that last day of school, before we no longer had school, I started calculating the mortality rates in the different countries.
Oh, okay. I did that too.
Italy was like double the amount of China. It was like 4% for China on that day and 8% for Italy. It was fascinating.
Yeah. And and they're saying, well, Italy has such a great healthcare system, but so many people are dying. It's like, look at all the other factors. There's a lot of factors involved. You can't just take pure numbers and just say this is the way it is. Like, because I think the United States is still less than 2% mortality rate or something like that. But then what ends up happening is, if you look at all the deaths, like especially in the first few days, it's like there was one particular place that had a ton of deaths. It was because it got into a retirement home or a nursing care facility. It was in a place where everybody in the high risk group were together and locked in together. It was going to happen if it got in there.
Yes.
And without adding all the other factors in, you're just scaremongering now. See, and that's where the news, who's supposed to investigate this stuff and actually report the news, if they would do their job that way, I would say, well, first of all, we did the whole show on the news media.
Yeah.
We might actually believe what they're saying.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. We have too many people, like me. I don't believe the news media. If I weren't in a high risk group, it's very possibly I would not alter the way I do things. Very possibly. But because I'm in the high risk group, now I'm thinking twice about it.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, the news media lost their credibility with me. If they had their credibility, and I were much younger, yeah, I would take all the precautions.
Where are you at with this, Sarah? I mean, as far as well,
I've definitely changed kind of the way I do things. I definitely freak out a little bit more if I don't wash my hands every certain amount of time. But I don't know. I always like to think of what if. Like, what if the news media didn't blow this quite so out of proportion or didn't scare people as much? Would our hospital overcrowding be the same? Would Italy's hospital crowding be the same?
Be
Because
the
I know a
same.
lot of
Yeah.
what Italy is struggling with is just the overcrowdedness of their hospitals, and they can't keep up with their
Right.
patients.
As a matter of fact, they've decided that if you're over a certain age, they're not even gonna, they're not even gonna treat you.
Oh yeah,
And while that sounds really messed up, at the same time, it's a virus. There's nothing you can really treat anyway.
Well, you can put them on oxygen to help them get through, but
their
at the
biggest
same
issue
time,
is they don't have enough equipment. They were
exactly
talking about their respirators and
right.
stuff and things of
So
that nature.
and really in any, I'm going to say it, socialized medicine situation, you have to start picking and choosing who you're going to treat, who you're not going to treat.
Yeah.
And what's your criteria for that? For instance, if you're 90 years old and break a hip, are we really going to fix that? Or if you're 40 and break a hip, oh, we're going to fix that because you still have a lot of years to be productive or whatever. Are you
Yeah.
really productive after the age of 90? Now, obviously, some people are, but the majority probably not, as far as contributing something into, other than knowledge of history. I love sitting and talking with people that are older than myself and hearing about their history and their backgrounds and all those kinds of things. To me, they're very valuable for that reason alone. But yeah, if you're 90, you're really close to your time anyway. So if you have to make a decision on who you're going to save, who are you going to save? I mean, I'm not even kidding about it, honestly.
You know why I think you like enjoying talking to people much older than you? Because there aren't that many left.
That's a good one. You got to take that one, man.
I brought her into this world. And,
he's too old to take me out at this point. He might not remember who I am.
Okay, let's stop there. Let's move on to the coronavirus.
Yes. So then I guess my question, for the government, as far as this bailout package, my thing is, again, the relief package, I get what they're doing.
Hold on, before you continue, can you clarify exactly what the bailout package is?
Supposedly, right?
Different things about like Wall Street getting $1 billion or $1 trillion.
Thank you. There we go. And that's my question. I want to know because what me and Kevin agree on a lot of times is that the government should not be bailing out businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they should not be giving businesses money. Like, as far as capitalism is concerned, if you run your business into the ground, that's just too bad, so sad. Hey, start over, try again.
Right.
Okay. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. This whole bailout package for, what's going on, where I guess they're going to try to come up with some relief for the hotel industry or, travel and, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a small business. There's talk about allowing small businesses to get bailout money and hold on to that money that they're not going to have to repay that back for any business loans that they have to pay on.
Well, I definitely think if anyone corporate gets it, then small businesses should also get it.
Yes. So, but my thing is, I'm just trying to figure out, like, is Holiday Inn going to get a bailout package? You see what I'm saying? Like, like we're talking about Holiday Inn now. Like, come on, dude.
Well, see, and the hard part is how do you, where's the line where, okay, you're too big, you should already have the money. Or if you, I do know my wife and I, we stayed at a, just a local hotel kind of place.
Yeah.
Where it might have been part of a chain, but it was independently owned. So I know this guy dumped his own money into making this work. We got, actually, it was, I think we checked in at like 2 a.m, and the owner was there.
Wow.
He was short-staffed or something. and we got a chance to talk to him a little bit. He dumped his own money into making that thing work. Now, if he can't have anybody stay at his hotel, he's not going to last very long. So
No.
so should he get bailed out, but Holiday Inn, who's gigantic, should they not? Or where do you draw the line? What's the number?
Yeah.
How does all that work? And
that's my only question. That was my concern, because I really do think, like, they're talking about this package is already in the trillions of dollars.
Right.
Meaning that I'm wow, that's like, and you're talking, and you're already talking about, like, it's not like the common American is not getting like a lot of money. Like, it's not like they're going to be giving us like $5,000 and $6,000 and $7,000.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I don't mean like $7,000 is a lot of money, but if you was given, let's say on average, each household got a $5,000 check, that is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not what's happening. You're talking about like an extra, like maybe a couple $100 or $1,000. It's still not evident if they're going to make us claim it as income and tax it next year. You see what I'm saying? Like,
surprised to me getting taxed on my
so I think, like, yeah, it's good that you might want to give money to a small business and tell them that they can hold on to it and they're not going to be penalized for it, and they get to keep the funds. But I didn't hear anybody saying that this money was not going to be taxed next year, that was going to be a stipulation in the bailout.
That was actually one of my questions on whether or not that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because anytime, because there was some kind of rebate. I don't know who was president at the time. Doesn't really matter. But there was basically a check that you received for like $2,000 or something. It was a few years ago.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And
it depends on who it was.
But then
one version was 2,000 and another version was 600.
Okay, well, when it came time for taxes, you had to pay tax on it.
Yes, you had to pay tax on it.
And almost nobody understood that ahead of time. It's like, oh, we're sending you a check. Oh, great, I got a check. Go out and spend it.
Yep.
Time for taxes. Oh, you owe money.
Because it was a question on it. It was funny because one woman she was mad. She said, if I would have known that they was going to take my taxes, I would have told them keep that daggone check. But she said she was getting her taxes done. She was sitting in an H&R Block, and the question came up, did you receive a stimulus check? And she go, oh, yeah, I received that check. She put yes. They go to do her refund amount, and she almost end up owing. And she says she normally gets back a 4-figure income tax check.
Okay.
She almost ended up owing. And she's like, all because she got a stimulus check the year before and she had to claim it on her taxes. And I'm like, wow, that little itty bitty stimulus check made her owe? Like, what was written in the tax law for that?
Well, it depends on what tax bracket she ended up in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as long as it, what I don't understand is if you're going to send me a $2,000 check and I'm going to owe taxes on it, take the taxes out first. So that.
But it might not be. It might not be that. I think what they did after talking to a tax professional, because we ended up getting our stuff deducted also. What they did was they deducted the stimulus check from your taxes. They didn't tax the actual amount the amount of money. You know how when you get a certain amount of money and it says, okay, if you're married, they tax like 38% of it. If you're single, they take like half.
Yeah, the amount of dependents you have.
Yeah.
Yes, that kind of thing. Okay, so the way it was explained to me was that whole entire amount was deducted from your refund. It wasn't taxed as a percentage of it was claimed as income, and you were taxed on that income.
When I think back, you're right about that.
Yes, that's exactly what they did. So if you got a $2,000 check and you normally get like a $3,000 refund, they took the $2,000 away from your refund and you only got like $1,000 and some change back that year. Like, that's what they were doing.
I feel like they still probably taxed you on it though.
That's like, even worse. It's
so confusing. So no one knows, but we're just going to tax everyone.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, wow. So that's how they did that. She was like, yeah. She's like, that's why nobody got taxes back this year because
See,
they took it back.
one of the original proposals, I think it was Trump's. It was Trump who proposed it, was going to do it through tax. How was it going to go? It was something about reducing your taxes, but only 50% of people actually pay taxes. So for the lower income people who pay no tax, they weren't getting anything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to help them out anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
So I figured, well, they can't do it that way because that's not going to fly, because the people who actually need the money are the ones who are not going to get it. So I figured it is going to be like a stimulus check like they did before. I kind of forgot about how that actually worked because that was quite a few years ago.
And he's just so old, he can't remember.
Honestly, why did we invite her? Anyway,
yeah, we actually got a $600 check for something for that. Excuse me. We actually got a $600 check for that. Excuse me. And they took the whole one. No. And they actually took hand sanitizer. Yeah. And they actually took the whole entire $600 back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, how is that even helpful at that point? Like, I could have just
and if you didn't fully understand that's how it was going to work,
then you're really screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Because I believe when I got the stimulus check, I didn't even need the check at the time, but of course I spent it because I had it.
Yeah.
And if I had known it was like just going to be given back or whatever, I wouldn't have spent it at that point. I understand why they did it, and I think it did help, but at the same time, for those who didn't, like I was working full time, I didn't need a stimulus check. I was doing just fine at the time. Not someone who might have been out of work because I know the economy wasn't doing so great at the time, and they wanted the economy to pick up. I get all that, but I didn't actually need it. So under the conditions of how it all worked, I probably would have preferred not getting it.
Yeah.
In that case, I wanted to hit on one thing here. The news media has been saying that by calling it a Chinese coronavirus or the Wuhan.
Well, the problem, that's
being racist.
And well, then the media got the name from another source. I don't think the media named it. So then when Trump was recorded saying China virus or whatever he said,
right?
I think he said Chinese virus.
I think it was Chinese coronavirus.
Is that what he said? Yes.
I think so.
So immediately people ran with that and said he was being racist because he was calling it Chinese virus, blah, 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 and that's not the correct name for it, and this, that, and the other.
Well, the whole thing was they're saying, you basically you're racist against Chinese people.
Yes.
And what's really curious about it is that since then, everybody in the media is calling Trump a racist for using the term.
Yes.
They went back and they compiled 52 different instances of the people who are calling him racist saying the exact same thing prior. It was like they were all calling it the Chinese coronavirus and the Wuhan coronavirus. And then they called it the Chinese Wuhan coronavirus.
When in actuality, the technical name for it.
And the thing was,
it's coronavirus disease. That's it.
Yeah, all the mainstream media people were saying it.
Yes.
And then as soon as Trump said it, it's like, oh, that's racist, and like they all backtracked on it. And it was like you actually think, the fact that you were on video, you're on the internet where nothing goes away, you actually think you're going to get away with the fact that you've been saying it this whole time. I mean,
me personally, I don't feel sorry for Trump. I don't think he's ever going to get away from the race card, basically because of who he is and his characteristics and things that he just said and did. So I understand what you're like. It is what it is. He's just going to keep getting that fire, man.
Well, but he's definitely got the racial problem. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
That's true, but we don't say the West Nile virus is racist.
Right, because it came from the West Nile. Or Ebola. Ebola came from the Ebola River.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole list of disease, the Spanish flu, and they
Yes.
said, oh well, this one's different because it didn't actually start in Spain; it started somewhere else. It
No,
came
that
in
that is that
Spain,
people are
and
just
then it picked up
nitpicking.
its name because of it actually took hold in Spain. But we
He has a public relations problem with being racist, and that fire is always going to find him. That bullet is always going to find him, man. Like real talk. And I get you. I get you. It is very, very, very
I mean what I'm talking about right now actually belongs in the other show about the media.
yeah.
But at the same time, well, I did see I saw a great clip. It was a woman. She looked like she may have had been of Asian descent,
Yes.
and she said, like someone in the White House called it the
Kung flu.
the kung
Kung
flu,
flu. Yes.
and
Woo.
and the thing was, it was interesting because they're showing Trump, and actually they were trying to make this whole point, but I could see it in his eyes too, like he's like, what was it called? And she says kung flu. What? I can't hear. What did you say? And she's like kung, and she keeps saying kung flu over and over and over. And then he says, well, who said that? Well, someone in the White House. Well, I wonder who that could have been. And like he got her to say it like 6 times, and then he just moved on. Like he never said it himself, but he got her to repeat it over and over.
Yeah.
And you could just see it like in his eyes, like he was just having a good time with that. I honestly, like, I don't like Trump as a person necessarily,
Yeah.
but at the same time, that guy's got a great sense of humor. And I mean, nobody sees it because it's so incredibly dry that I have a dry sense of humor myself. So I kind of pick up on what he's doing. And
his
I know we're not going to agree on this one.
yeah, that dude is just
No, honestly, I think he is going for the jokes on some of this stuff. He's just he is.
Yeah, but he is
Different
given a level. He is given a. I'm just saying he's given a platitude. He's just given so much grace, and I think that if this was somebody else, you could throw a bomb up there. You could throw, I don't know. You could throw Condoleezza Rice up there. You could throw Hillary Clinton up there. You could throw, I mean, you could throw a whole bunch of people up there. Chuck, you could throw Oprah Winfrey for president up there. There are just so many people that people would think would be okay for president, but they would not have the latitude to do this, to do what he does or to say what he says.
I think at this point, well, I don't know that he really even has it. I mean, the news media is, and then when I listen to, looking at Facebook, looking at Twitter, looking at different things, I don't think he's given any latitude at all. But he does it so often that you just can't help, you just can't keep beating a dead horse. No matter what you say, he doesn't care.
Well, he doesn't have to, because I think it's, again, the support that he got. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the man's a president. I can't even. I mean, nobody's really trying to argue that fact. And you know what I'm saying? Like you said, beat a dead horse.
I know. Yeah.
Everybody's arguing that fact.
No, what I'm saying is like, at the end of the day, he is the president. Get over it. But we do have to be realistic and understand that dude is doing a whole bunch of stuff that even Republican presidents could not have done and got away with it. But like at the end of the day, you do not see George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan acting like this guy, or even saying some of the things that he says and getting away with it.
No,
there's no way.
I honestly, I knew this time, that's for another show, but I will say, I think the best thing that could have happened in the last election is Trump winning, only because people are now aware of what's going on.
And I've heard a lot of
people are looking at politics a whole different
way. Me personally, I'm not looking at it a different way. I think that people got what they wanted, and now, they're looking at it. I agree with you, but I wasn't one of the people that had to wake up. You understand what I'm saying? Like I'm sitting here looking at other people waking up going, dude, you didn't know that? Okay. welcome to the United States of America. Have a nice day. Like, that's where I'm at with it today. Like,
okay, yeah. And I don't really want to go down that road. I want to stick with the coronavirus here.
Done that.
But we haven't really been doing that.
What we've been talking about taxes.
Yeah.
Well, that was the stimulus package.
Stimulus checks,
so
yeah.
It did relate to all that. Yeah, the question of if the government shuts you down for whatever reason, are they responsible for also subsidizing your losses? And then how do you calculate that? And,
well, that's what I'm looking at up right now. Let me see, since I have, let me see. Let's see. COVID stimulus.
I do like all the tech companies have been really good about taking care of a lot of their people.
Yes.
But at the same time, like my other daughter is actually currently laid off from her job because her function, she works at a restaurant, and her function is basically to schedule groups into the restaurant. And since you're not supposed to assemble in a group, there's no reason for her to be at the restaurant. So they've laid her off, and which is totally understandable, because why are you paying somebody to do something they can't actually do? So I get that. I mean, I'm glad what they did was set it up so that she could collect unemployment, and they guaranteed her job when they can start scheduling groups again. She can go back to work, things like that. They've done a really good job with that. I was actually working on with a government site on the computer system upgrade, and but it's job services. So because of all the unemployment applications coming in, they had to cancel the upgrade because they can't take any chance on being down. Because actually, I saw some numbers where just in 1 week, the number of applications doubled, and they were expecting it to go up some huge number the following week, things like that. Now, this actually, this goes back to news media. I don't want to go back to news media. I keep going back there, where they essentially, somebody said, "Oh, we predict there's, that this is going to be worse than ever, and this is how many we're expecting," and things like that. But the news made it sound like it's a fact, it's happening, and it's like it's a prediction. Now it may happen, but it's just a prediction, and until it actually happens, keep it out of the news.
Well,
and
this is
they're doing the same thing with the statistics on how many people are going to be infected, how many people are going to die, things like that.
Yeah.
And yes, you can run numbers, but it's still theoretical.
Yeah,
when you introduce
I hate it when they do that. Yeah,
people into the equation, even though based on history, but people are doing things differently now. So all of a sudden, all the rules change.
Yeah,
and those predictions.
And you don't know, something like I said, somebody might run in front of a microphone and say, "We got a cure," and it's coming out of freaking, I don't know, Zimbabwe. You don't know that. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
I'm actually seeing a lot of that right now.
If we have a cure, then we can't collect money on this anymore, so the government won't benefit.
Oh, big conspiracy theory. Yeah. Big pharma.
Kind of like cancer, right?
Yeah. We don't cure cancer because we need patients to pay for stuff, and if we cure it, they're not going to be paying anymore.
I'm also curious to meet the statisticians of all these things, because judging by the way my math classroom's been going, statistics is not anyone's strong suit.
Well, we should say that Sarah teaches math in the middle school.
Yes.
And there are some things that I teach well and some things I don't. But I don't know. I feel like as soon as I said my classroom, internet's gonna blow up. Maybe you must be a crappy teacher. Maybe.
Now about this so-called the Corona, what is it called? The Corona stimulus package. Okay, the GOP's plan was estimated at $1.4 trillion. It averages a $1,200 check for most U.S. adults and hundreds of billions to assist businesses. It could go up to $2 trillion by the time they finish it.
Where do we get this money?
Then they were supposed to vote on it today, this morning, and it got defeated. It failed. Sunday evening by a 47-47 vote. So they just finished
Wait,
voting on it.
47 to 47, does that mean it tied? And because it tied, it just lost?
Well,
Yes,
no,
because they needed a 3/5.
Oh.
well, if they needed 3/5.
Yes, they needed
Okay.
they needed votes of at least 3/5 of the full Senate for it to pass.
Okay. I thought it was a 50-50. That's when I think the vice president steps in when it comes to the Senate, right? Isn't the vice
Well, yeah,
president?
he's the head of the Senate, yeah.
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 So
Oh, Mike Pence, great. I
Well,
trust that guy.
well, I
Yeah.
do. Actually, I think Mike Pence is a pretty good guy. Anyway, coronavirus. Let's go back there. Okay, so it got defeated, but the thing is, think about it: 1.4 trillion. Our yearly budget is 4 trillion. You're talking about a 25% thereabouts. I'm rounding 25% increase.
I teach middle school math. I'm good.
No, actually, I got my numbers wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's
I think
42%.
it says Nancy
increase or something.
Pelosi said there's still no deal, and that the Democrats will be introducing their own bill.
Nancy Pelosi's in the House.
She is.
I don't know why she said that. Says
Okay.
we'll
Well,
be introducing our own bill, said Pelosi.
Okay. Now the thing was, the last bill that got introduced, there was abortion money in the bill.
I can't even with our government.
I'm sorry, said I can't even without government.
No, so the whole thing was that this bill was supposed to pass pretty easily
About the coronavirus,
about
right?
the coronavirus.
Okay, just to make this clear, it's about the devastating virus that is happening right now.
Right, and and what was added in, I think it was an amendment or what do you call it when they tack something into a bill?
You're talking about Trip.
So there was I don't know how much money was involved, but it was for abortion funding, as I understand it.
Here's some more of that
and
pork,
of course,
belly fat.
Yeah, so basically it got voted down. Well, even if I don't even know if it came to a vote, because when they found out that was in there, she got slammed so hard for that. It's like, why would you add that in? And I know they add crap into the bills all the time, and that's part of the problem.
Yes, that's why everyone's confused, is because no one talks about what they're actually trying to talk about.
Right? They say, like for instance, or the coronavirus. Republicans voted down the coronavirus bill that would have helped so many people. Yeah, because you tacked on all this other crap on the back end. So of course they voted. And now, let's give context. Why? That's what nobody ever asked. Why did you vote it down?
Virus, women's rights, same thing.
Yeah.
Why not just throw them in one?
There you go. And my thing is, if the bill can't pass, if your amendment can't pass as a bill on its own, then you probably shouldn't have it. Don't tack it on to something else.
That's the issue. All that pork they keep trying to put in there.
Exactly.
I feel like constituents should be like overbearing parents of students. As soon as you do something wrong or something that's confusing, no, you need to fix that right now. Why don't we do that?
But in government, that would be right. In the school system, not so much.
Oh, that's probably why we don't do it oppositely.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Although in other news, me as a school teacher is probably making more than a lot of other people right now. First-time teachers making bank. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, because she gets paid even though she is not actually working.
Yes.
But no, I shouldn't say that. She is actually working.
I am working. I have students contacting me every day. I'm still working throughout the weekends, as I did when we were in school too.
Right.
Because my job never stops when I leave the building.
Yeah. I heard a lot of the stuff is they have a lot of online stuff that they got. My daughter's kind of pissed off because she found out. They said, hey, we're going to come up with a way for you guys to finish a lot of your curriculum online. And then the superintendent of Suffolk School said, well, I don't think we should count that stuff as physical grades because we don't have the ability to grade that the right way. So yes, tell the students to do that stuff, but we're not going to count that as far as their official grading for the year.
We're required to have 90 minutes or less of material per week for students. And at first they told us if they don't do it, you can't grade them so it'll negatively impact their grade because maybe they don't have internet at home or something like that, which is pretty reasonable. I'd be okay with that. But then at the end of last week, they said, oh, even if you were grading people who did do their work, you got to take those grades out.
Yeah.
But we're not going to grade any
So
of
it wasn't just
don't put
Suffolk.
any
It
new
was
material.
actually all of Virginia. It just wasn't Suffolk.
Yeah, because Chesterfield I know has it, and we have it.
Wow. Okay, so
it's
these kids are going to do outstandingly well on their online courses because they really want their grades. Because my daughter is in something called dual enrollment, where she is basically she's taking college classes and her high school classes, and hopefully next year she will have an AA degree in general studies before she even gets her high school degree. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and she's being told that all this work that she's about to finish online because they're out of school probably until the summer is not going to count. And they don't know how, because the teachers are being told that they can't grade it.
But at the same time, I can understand too, because as a teacher, we have no training. There's no, hey, this is how you set up a successful online curriculum or anything like that. Fortunately for me, I've been kind of developing my own curriculum anyway, so it just works out. I get to try it out before actually implementing it.
Man, this is going to be such a crazy time at the end of this month. Probably at the end of the next month, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we don't go back until April 14th if they don't extend it any longer. And so a full month gone, I don't think we're going to go back for the year.
Somebody must know something. I think there's a cure somewhere. They just, like you said earlier, I think they're trying to...
They're finding a way to tax it first.
well, there's a lot of reports, and actually, I heard from a pharmacist who said that supposedly it's something that they use to treat malaria. Will also treat this virus, and that some of the doctors locally have written scripts for themselves to get stuff at the pharmacy.
And like hoarding supplies.
And they're hoarding the medication. Kind of thing.
Wow.
So the question of ethics within the medical community, because they're like, oh, this actually takes care of the virus, so we're going to keep it for ourselves. It's like, why are you not writing scripts for everybody else? And I guess the FDA isn't allowing it yet or something.
I just don't understand why we don't run our country like Charles Darwin, survival of the fittest. If some people, it goes back to like the private businesses and stuff. If they want to stay open, let them stay open. If people choose to gather in their facility, then let them gather in their facility because they're going to die for being stupid anyway.
Well, Howard, but like somebody like me that's not going to go out. I go out just that one time. I run into that one person who did not take the precautions, and now I caught it.
Well, that sounds like your problem. Well, that sucks. That sucks. I'm not saying that. I get it. But at the same time, if you didn't prepare for this, we knew about it ahead of time. If you didn't prepare and you had to go out, that sounds like it's your fault.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I didn't get my stimulus check to pick up extra supplies.
Don't worry, just go steal it from your neighbors. They can't charge you.
That's right. I can go steal it from my neighbor.
Or you know what? We could just
actually my neighbor.
Nice
my neighbor's a cop. I'm not sure I want to do that.
Well, don't worry. That'd be a lot of paperwork if he injured you.
That's true. That's true. And I'm sure I don't know, he might like paperwork. You never know.
He is really nice. I bet you if you ask.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, why don't we do that as a human race anyway? Why don't we just be nice to the people around us? That's not coronavirus. That's just me.
I don't see anything wrong with that ideology.
I know. If someone needs something and they need it, why are we denying it? Like healthcare.
Wow, no, that's another show.
That's another show. Yes, it is.
Yeah. But actually, that's a show we haven't.
Talk about student loan forgiveness at some point too.
Oh yeah.
Anyone that wants to forgive mine, that'd be okay. I don't get paid that much as a teacher, except right now.
I have nothing to say to that. Anyway,
yes.
Do we have anything else on the coronavirus?
No, that's it.
Well, we stray off of it, but it actually all comes back to the same thing every time.
Everything is connected.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's about it. They, like I said, the most latest thing is they defeated the plan, and the count is literally now over 335,000 worldwide.
I guess something else to add is now, starting tomorrow, my daughter's daycare opens up for essential personnel children, I guess. Like, I still have the option to send my daughter if I want to. I don't want to because I'm going to be home. There's no reason. They're not charging me, which many daycares are still charging their parents for their facility, even though they're closed. But they're allowing kids to come back to the facility starting tomorrow.
But that's only for essential personnel?
It's supposed to be for essential personnel.
Okay, so doctors, nurses, things like that.
Anyone who has to go to work.
Okay. Yeah, and luckily I work from home, so I don't, most of the time I work from home, so I don't really have to go anywhere. I do have a financial office that I work from also, but it's all independent contractors, so most people have chosen not to be there. So if I go there, but it's hard to get clients in when, but we can do things now online and things like that. So, I mean, we have a lot of options on how we conduct business, but not all businesses are that way. Like truck drivers. I mean, honestly, without truck drivers, this entire country was shut down.
Absolutely.
Man, I couldn't even imagine how stuff would get around this country without truck drivers.
Well, they wouldn't. I mean, that's all it's to it. They just absolutely, every single item in your house arrived on a truck.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, it was on a truck.
Yeah.
So we can't.
I know some genius is going to be, that's what planes are for. How are they going to get from the airport to your house, bro?
well, actually, I did see a thing where truck driver unions are like calling for, keep your gas stations open, keep your restaurants open, at least keep them open so that the truckers can get meals and gas and things like that, because the country still has to function either way.
Yeah.
We cannot shut everything down. I mean,
because I can tell you right now, I can't think of a nuclear plant that's near an airport. And I know daggone well most of the power plants or nuclear plants that are powering this country are way out in the boonies and are getting supplies daily from semis.
Right, and they have to.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we have a grocery store right on the corner from our house, and I can walk there. I mean, it's close enough where I can just walk there if I needed to. But the thing is, everybody in this area is going to need to use that grocery store, and I have food in my house, but I don't think it's going to last me a month. And actually any fresh stuff isn't going to be fresh anymore.
I can tell you right now, short of that box of crackers, cookies, or canned beans, your food's not going to last your month.
We have a lot of pasta, so
not a lot of sauce, just the noodles.
Right, but I do have a ton of butter, so
butter skitty.
Butter and pasta, I can do that. I can add a little garlic to it. We're good. Yeah. But
for a month.
Yeah, I don't know if I can make it through a month with the amount of pasta we have. And we got a lot of pasta, but
man, that's a lot.
I don't know. We've got I mean, there's two of us here that need to live on it, and then when Sarah comes over, she always expects us to feed her.
I just want to be clear. I brought your lunch today.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Just saying.
I think. I don't know. I don't even think we have enough for 2 weeks.
Although speaking of meals and coronavirus, the way the schools are responding is really nice. They still have kept our cafeteria workers employed, and they're getting paid because they're distributing grab-and-go lunches and meals for those who, especially the students who qualify for free or reduced lunch.
Wow. They can go in and pick up lunches.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was one of the biggest concerns about closing school for so long, is that so many of these students, especially where I work, it's a very transient community, very low income area, that half the kids, or not half, I don't know the number, but they're not going to get a hot meal in a month.
Yeah.
Actually, the statistics of the area where your school is, it is about half.
Is it?
It's about half that gets some kind of subsidy for lunches.
I know it's rising every year.
Yeah, it's
that goes to that statement that I was making on your post about who really is poor in America. Like that whole under 20 some odd thousand. Under 14. What is it? $14,000 and some change for a married couple is considered poverty level. If it's a family of 4, it's just under, I think, $27,000 a year, or around $27,000 a year for a family of 4.
Is that in the state of Virginia? Is that per
yes, in the state of,
locality?
well, actually, it's the federal government numbers, but each state, their numbers are kind of around that.
Yeah, they vary state to state.
Yeah, it does vary state to state, but it's not that far off. And I'm thinking to myself, a family of 4, according to the federal government, the poverty line on average is supposed to be $27,000. Like, that's crazy.
I'm sorry, I can barely pay my rent if I were making them. Like, I wouldn't be able to pay anything.
I made that comment on a post, and it was like a family of 4 in Virginia Beach, over here where I live at. Like, no, you if you are a single person, you can barely, and we're not even talking extracurriculars. Like, we're not talking about the cable bill, cell phone, none of that stuff. Like, all we're talking about is enough money to where you can pay for rent, get food, water and electric, maybe have a modest beater car to get you back and forth to your teacher job. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
probably uninsured.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like, it's just crazy. Like, and they're talking about like the family of 4. Like, I don't even understand where that came from. I really don't.
Okay, so speaking from the financial side of things, in my financial services business, now people who make that amount of money, they don't come in to see me, so I don't actually talk to them. But the people I do talk to who say I can't make it week to week or whatever, if you look at the things they spend their money on, a lot of times they're spending money they shouldn't be spending. They're buying things they shouldn't be buying. Now, I'm not saying that occurs at the really low income levels, because my experience there has been they buy food, they try to keep a roof over their heads, they try not to be in the absolute worst neighborhood. I mean, if they stayed in the worst neighborhood and just fed their kids pasta with butter and really keep it low level like that, they might get by, but that's about it. And do you really want to live in a neighborhood where it's the absolute worst as far as crime goes, as far as like everything goes?
You know what could fix that? People being nice to the people around them. Right there. I mean, no, that won't fix every situation.
No, absolutely not.
Well, you're always going to have
that all of the time.
Yeah, you're always going to have criminals, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think the one of the things about the coronavirus and shutting a lot of things down, I think it's going to expose a lot of what's going on. I think that
expose what part?
Yeah, but where are things broken? I mean, we don't see it because we're so busy. Like we're blaming people that are poor for being lazy or whatever. I mean, I actually see that a lot. Mm-hmm. But now that the people who are blaming the poor for being poor because they're lazy, they're out of work, not by their own choice, and now they can't make it. So now we're going to start seeing. It's like, oh, maybe it's not. Maybe they're not that lazy, because I'm not lazy, but
I can honestly tell you that the conversation has switched real quick. Just like we were talking earlier when we first started the episode about the whole, well, you were talking about he's not your president, don't take a check. Okay. A lot of people that have that kind of narrow-minded view of our national deficit, there are a good percentage of people that believe the national deficit is the way it is because of welfare. Okay. Now, and I know you laugh when I say that, but there are a bunch of people that believe that.
They're part of my Facebook group.
Yes, and they really believe that we spend billions of dollars on what they like to call welfare queens. So now my question, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at people not worried about welfare queens anymore. That's not even an argument. You can't even entertain that with them, because they want to know, what is the government going to do about their grandma and their husband? My husband was the breadwinner in our house and blah, 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 blah. And he lost his job because of this corona stuff. and what are you going to do? And when are we going to get these checks? And like, I'm looking at the conversations and it's like, wow, how the tables have turned.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's nothing wrong with wanting the government to help out in this case. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that explains your point that you're talking about. You're going to see what's broken. Here it is. You have a what seems to be an intelligent American believing that the national deficit can be solved if we take, I'm sorry, yeah, the national deficit, yeah, the national deficit can be solved if we take money from the welfare budget, okay? And now they could care less about the welfare budget because they themselves think that they now need a handout because of a situation that was caused by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's a lot of the attitude I see in school as well. And
Yeah.
entitlement. Now that I'm in a situation where I don't know something, I have to get it right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do about this? When are you going to grade this paper? When are you going to do that? And
Yeah.
I'm always going to talk about school. So.
But
yeah, I just think it's funny.
To me, a lot of times, whatever tragedy comes along, I do look at the tragic circumstances, but I also look at what's the bright side coming out of this. And I think this virus, what it's going to start showing us is where some things are broken, and where we got, where we can stop thinking about. Well, because even the people who have saved their money up, if they don't have it in a safe location or in a safe fund of some sort, they're getting hit hard right now because the market's tanking.
Yeah.
So if they didn't take care of their money before they retired, and they got,
I can tell you right
places,
now, the only people whose money is literally safe right now
are people that talk to me.
Is are from what I understand is if you have a certain type of what do you call these low risk investments?
Right.
Yeah. Like
typically conservative investments.
Yeah, that's it. If you were one of these people that was making hand over fist because you were investing aggressively, all your money's gone. Literally, like you'll be lucky to take. You're lucky if you got the principal, bro. Your money's gone, man.
That's what I do. On the financial side, that's what I do. I help people put money in the right place. But but it's again, I think the coronavirus thing, it's devastating for a lot of people. Absolutely. It's hurting people financially. Health-wise, obviously, for those who, especially in the higher risk groups, luckily the mortality rate is very low for this country, which is great. But the thing is, it's just getting started too. We're actually on the rise. From what I've seen, China, actually, they're like, okay, we've actually shut it down. Now they're a communist country; they can shut it down. As far as they can. I mean, martial law existed before the virus, essentially. So it's easy to just shut it down and say people got to stay home.
Yeah.
It's not a problem doing that. This country, however, we're guaranteed certain freedoms, and to take them away, it takes a lot. There's a lot involved to make that happen.
Yeah.
In our economy, everything we do is based on those freedoms. So to take those freedoms away, that I saw New Hampshire, I believe it was, there's actually a lawsuit against the government that mandated certain shutdowns, or they were shutting.
Oh yeah, the freedom.
So they were suing the government.
No one sues more than Americans.
well, the thing about New Hampshire, though, I believe their state motto is "Live free or die," and they truly believe that. So if you're taking away my freedom, I'd rather die.
I'm gonna tell you right now, lawyers are gonna have a field day in about 2-3 months because they're gonna find out how to corporately and legally stretch these lawsuits out or write these lawsuits up so they can start getting some money for people. Mm-hmm. I promise you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't forget about 9 months from now when they're also doing the child custody hearings and.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
And spring break.
Oh no, I can't wait for if you were treated for the COVID-19, blah, 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 blah. And you have. I can't wait for that commercial. When that commercial comes out, matter of fact, I think, yeah.
Well, one of the things that initially when school let out that we were worried about is on my syllabus, I keep my phone number, especially with something like this. I was like, hey, give me a call. My students. But it's worrisome because if I'm having contact with them on my personal electronic device, what is that going to turn into?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. It's up in the air. But I think that this pandemic will also bring about good things rather than just the broken things.
Mm-hmm. On a side note, I would like to know where the anti-vaxxers are at on this. I really would. Yeah.
It's a good question. It's a good question. I'm actually torn on that topic too. That'd be a topic for another day. but it is a really good question. You know, like like if a cure comes out
or an actual let's say an actual vaccine comes out. Okay, boom. Are the anti-vaxxers are going to take it? Because to go to your guys' argument for you make more money treating something instead of coming out with a cure, that means they come out with a vaccine for it. Not necessarily a cure, but a vaccine, like the whole flu vaccine thing. Right. Like I had a flu vaccine. I take a flu vaccine shot every single year. Okay. So the deal of it is if they come out with a vaccine for this, are the anti-vaxxers, are they going to take it? Like, that's a good question, man. I want to know.
I don't know. Does this cause autism?
I don't know. It's that's a good question
we'll
too.
Wait for that commercial.
We'll wait for that commercial.
Did you get the vaccine for coronavirus?
Yeah.
Are you experiencing some anal leakage?
That could be your lifestyle, though. I don't know.
But some good things have come out. Like I've read that there's a lot less smog in China or in Hong Kong. I don't know if any of that's true.
Actually, because they locked it down, there were no cars. There was no transportation whatsoever. And
they started making cleaner engines too.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was. I mean, it's only been going on for 4 months, but
yeah.
But the thing was, because no one was allowed to move within the cities and whatnot. Yeah. The smog itself cleared up,
which is cool.
Wow,
which is a good thing. So
got you.
Maybe San Francisco will do the same thing.
No, you never know.
But also other good things is like communities are starting to be a little more connected. I know our neighborhood right now, there's 2 kids in particular that will let Ava go have a play date with during all of this, and just we're there for each other. Just we see you outside, whereas before and we might just wave at each other, but now it's like, oh my gosh, I really need my child to go play with someone. I need another adult to talk to because I can't talk to my 2-year-old anymore.
Right. Wow.
The bathroom, I can't even get my alone time in the bathroom anymore.
Yeah, and so she sends Ava to my house.
Yeah.
I'm the mommy and daddy relief person. Well, me and my wife, I should say. It's not just me.
She didn't even want to come over here today.
Oh,
yeah, believe that.
She's like, I don't want to play with Papa. I want to play with Mabel, our next door neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it either. Friend. I mean, Papa's the best. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2 times in a row that we said we were coming here, and she didn't want to come.
Wow.
Uh-oh. You got competition, Kevin.
Man, I'm so used to being the favorite that I don't know what to do when I'm not.
Yeah, when you reach a certain age, you don't really know what to do anyway. I'm on fire. I hope some of these make it.
Okay, and I hope you really enjoy your last show with us.
All of your viewers are like, get that girl back here. I really like the way she disses that old white guy.
Outstanding.
This is what it's like at my house all the time.
If we were actually legitimately nice to each other, I feel like there'd be something wrong.
We are nice to each other, but we also dig into each other all the time too.
That's good stuff.
Right.
Good sense of humor.
That started before the coronavirus, just in case you.
Yeah, I've always been funny. I've always helped him out.
Outstanding.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap up here.
Yes.
Any other thoughts on coronavirus from anybody?
Nope.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. I actually, yeah.
I gotta. Yeah. As soon as I finish, I'm about to go wash my hands, just because. I haven't even been anywhere. I sat in front of a mic and talked.
Well, we actually did a broadcast this morning, our church service. So.
That'd be weird.
And the pastor was sitting at the table, and I hadn't wiped the table down yet, because it's like anytime anybody comes into the studio, I'm wiping stuff down, So I didn't wipe down today. So yeah, I'm gonna go up, change my shirt because I've been on the table, and wash my hands. And
if I get the coronavirus, I'm suing you.
I know a lawyer.
So yeah. So what we want you to do, if you're watching this broadcast, if you enjoyed podcast, share it with your friends, get the word out that we're out there. We're just talking about these kinds of things. We want to get something out there every single Monday, which is why we're
Sorry, I can't help myself.
Okay, he teaches middle school. So, but we want you to share the video with everybody. Let them know. And you yourself, go over to YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it somewhere else, but go to YouTube, click on subscribe. We want you to subscribe so that you know that every time another podcast comes out. And especially what's really important is leave your comments on where you are on these topics. We want you to be part of the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not necessarily sitting here in the studio with us, or at Mike's house, but I honestly don't know who visits you there. But the thing is, and Sarah's a guest today with us. So if you'd like to be a guest with us, if you have something for us to talk about that you're passionate about, something in your community, something in your church, something that needs some public awareness, let us know, and we'll entertain the idea, bring you into the studio. Now you're gonna have to live close by. We're not flying in, just in case you're wondering. But we actually I enjoyed having the third person here to bounce some things around. She's getting removed from the will. I'm gonna say that. But,
don't worry, I wasn't gonna take care of him when he got much older anyway. I might give him the coronavirus. Watch out.
But but we want to have these conversations. We don't necessarily agree on everything. We disagree on a lot of things. But we're always civil. We don't shout each other down. We don't try to cancel each other out. We just want to have the conversation so we can understand one another, and that's what this show is all about. Any closing words there, Mike?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
Knowledge is power.
Yes.
My closing words.
Okay, yeah, it's middle school. Okay, so we will see y'all on the next podcast, and everybody, be safe, stay home if you can, do what you got to do to make sure that this virus gets over and done with, so that we can go back to our normal lives.
Yes, wash your hands.
Share your hand sanitizer.
Okay, now this is for real.
Okay, I won't make a weird face.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm in trouble.
I'm just here chilling with my man K-Dog.